welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm coming at you with an interesting video for you today. I've had a request by some of my subscribers to do, they were asking for my opinion on, in a shit hits the fan kind of scenario, I have an AR-15 or an AK-47 and I'm allowed one gun to take in that survival scenario. So they were asking that I would do a video talking about my thought process on choosing between those two rounds. Now, first thing I want to mention is that anything that I say in this video is just my personal opinion, okay? It's just the thoughts that are rattling around in my head. It doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that that's how I personally feel. You can agree, you can disagree. That's up to you. But I'm just sharing with you my thought process about choosing between these two rifles that are so beautiful. So with that being said, let's take a quick look at the rounds that we're going to be shooting out of these guns. Okay, so the first one will be the AR-15 platform, okay, and we're going to be shooting a 55 grain 223 or 5.56 bullet. Okay, it's an excellent round. Now let's look at the AK-47 platform and let's see what kind of bullet that shoots. This is a 7.62 by 39. It's a 123 grain bullet, so it's considerably heavier. The diameter of the bullet is a little bit fatter. You're talking a 223 diameter versus a 310 diameter. So there's a little bit difference there in the diameter of the bullets, and it's a little heavier. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if it comes down to choosing one of those two, I have to look at it. I have to, take my blinders off. And the reason I say that is because the 7.62 by 39, man, I've really got mixed feelings about that round. Let me explain that. I'm an American, okay? I'm a veteran. And the reason I have these mixed feelings about the 7.62 by 39 is because that was the bullet that was on the opposite side of the field. And so I'll tell you one thing, if you get hit by one of these, it hurts like hell if it don't kill you. So that kind of makes myself and some other U.S. servicemen, veterans, a little bit biased against it. But again, let's take the blinders off. Let's open our heart, open our mind, and let's look at these rounds for what they really truly are and the beautiful round that it really is. So to determine if I'm going to grab my AR or my AK, man, I have to break it down into a couple categories. Okay, now the first category is small game, because that's what we're going to use the rifle for in a bug out situation. That's the first thing that we're going to use it for, is hunting, to put food on the table. We're going to put some meat over the fire. Now the smallest meat or the easiest meat in a lot of scenarios is smaller game, such as rabbits, maybe a coyote's hanging over the fire. I mean, when you're surviving, meat is meat. A porcupine, they're good eating animals. So in that scenario, both of these, in my opinion, they kind of cancel each other out because they're equally successful in small game. Okay, both of them. So in that aspect, it doesn't matter which gun I pick up because it's going to be able to handle both of those. Small game, no problem. Let's move it up a notch. Let's say we're defending ourselves, and God forbid that I ever have to use this rifle to kill someone. Maybe some guy comes in my camp at 2 in the morning and wants to rob me, and I have to grab my rifle and shoot the guy or something. And again, I pray that that never happens, and I pray that none of you ever get put in that situation. But if it does, let's talk about this. 223, this is a war machine, man. 7.62 by 39, war. I mean, they were at opposite ends of the field. They are designed for ending life, a human life, okay? So again, I think they're both excellent in that department. So and at that point, now we're talking small game and self-defense. They're both equal, in my opinion. Let's step it up another notch. Let's talk about deer. A little bit larger game. We want to put some good quality meat on the table over the fire. The 223, or should I say 5.56, has a 55 grain bullet. 223 caliber. It's a hot little bullet. I'm 100% confident that a 223 can be used successfully in a survival situation with a well-placed shot at a close range to take out a deer. No problem at all. In fact, if you look at some of the people that live back east, I'm in the southwest of America, but some of the people that live eastern Louisiana and places like that, I know that they shoot deer all the time with this 223. I've even heard of people that shoot deer with the 22 Magnum. And again, it's all about shot placement, and they're hitting them right, and they're dropping, boom. So I have no doubt in my mind that a 223 is 100% capable for gathering some small, deer and stuff like that for meat. 7.62 by 39. Again, we have a .310 diameter bullet, a little bit heavier. Of course, we're going to knock a deer down. He's not even going to know what hit him. So when it comes to deer, again, my opinion, they cancel each other out. So at that point, we're still equal. It doesn't matter what rifle we grab. Let's move it up a notch. Large game, elk, horse meat, cows, bears, things like that. We need to put some big sustainable meat on the fire. In my opinion, this is where the choice changes. If you look at an elk, for example, big bull elk, in my opinion, a 223 will kill an elk. But I don't think that it's going to be successful with one shot. I would think, and again, these are just my opinions, but I would think that a 223 is capable of doing it with multiple shots. Now let's think about that. 7.62 by 39. I would think that this would knock an elk down with a well-placed close shot, kind of like what the 223 would do to a deer. I think you could take an elk down. Again, you're talking about a 30.310 caliber bullet versus a 223 caliber bullet. And again, I think 7.62 by 39 would be successful in that department with one shot. And of course, it's kind of reaching the max of the potential of this bullet. It would have to be an extremely close and well-placed shot, in my opinion. The 223 is capable of doing it as well, I would say. But the difference that lies between that is, I believe, the quality of the meat that is shot with the 223 would be much more insignificant than the meat that would be shot with the 7.62 by 39. The reason I say that is because, again, the 223, I believe it would take multiple shots to bring down a bull elk. So that means the first shot hits him, he's like, oh man, and he goes into adrenaline mode. You have adrenaline pumping all through the meat. Now he's going to run for 4 miles, and he's bleeding, and he's pumping adrenaline. And by the time you follow up with 3 or 4 more, 5 more shots, and you finally take him down, that meat is so pumped full of adrenaline that the quality of the meat is just not as good. So my personal opinion, I have to grab one of these, boom, that's the one I'm taking, AK-47. That's just a survival situation. I'm going to set these back here for a second and continue to talk a little more. So I think the 7.62 by 39 would be my gun of choice. Now, let me talk about another thing. I've heard from some of my friends that the AR-15 platform in the extreme cold temperatures has been known to fail. I've also had personal experience using the M16 where if you didn't keep them clean, they would start to malfunction a little bit. They can be a bit finicky. The AK-47, not at all. Excuse me, when I was in the service, we used to drop those things in the mud. We'd get them and we'd shake them off and they would continue to shoot. They're a very durable weapon. They're not as accurate, but they're very durable. When you pull the trigger, it will go bang. In fact, we used to take those things to the car wash and we'd pressure wash them down and just wash the mud off of them. That's how durable these rifles are, these AK-47s. So, yeah. And another thing that I noticed is the AK-47 round doesn't matter what kind of temperatures you're dealing with. You could be in sub-zero temperatures or you could be in the hottest desert in the planet and the AK-47 is just going to work. It's just going to fire and it's going to be reliable. So again, that would be my choice. Now, I know this really isn't allowed, but man, sorry guys, I got to do it. M1A1, 308, M14. Now that, my friends, if I had to choose one of 3 rifles, hands down, 308 caliber. Now I know I kind of cheated there, but so now I have them lined up. So in my order of rounds, let me see if I can zoom in on them a little bit. In the order of rounds that I would pick up in a scenario, my first choice would be this 308. My second choice, 7.62 by 39, and my third choice would be the 223 or the 5.56. Ooh, sorry about the camera there, guys. So anyway, I want to say thank you everybody for watching the video, taking the time to hear my opinion in this discussion. I hope that nobody got offended, because that, my intentions were not to start some big fight on my channel or, some big debate. That's not my intentions. I'm just sharing my opinions at the request of some of you. So I hope that you take it for what it is. Feel free to leave your comments and tell me what your thoughts are. What's your experiences? Let me know. Please keep the comments, cool. No disrespect and all that. I know sometimes people like to get in little debates and stuff, and that's cool, but just keep it cool, please. And as always, feel free to comment. Like I said, subscribe, thumbs up, share this video. And again, as always, have a beautiful day, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye now.